The tariffs are going forward. And I'm not even blaming the other countries that did this. I blame our leadership for allowing it to happen.
The prices of groceries, electronics, and even cars could rise by as much as 25%. Imagine everything you buy, your daily coffee, that new phone, your car, becoming much more expensive. This isn't just a prediction. It's happening right now because of President Trump's import tariffs, and it's about to get even worse in 2025. Keep watching to find out what's coming, why the crisis is deepening, and how you can prepare before it's too late. At their core, import tariffs are taxes that a government places on goods brought into the country. The idea is simple. By making foreign products more expensive, tariffs encourage consumers to buy locally made goods. This seems like a win for US manufacturers, right? But here's the catch. It's not just foreign businesses that get hit. It's you, the consumer. Whether you're buying clothes, electronics, or food, the price of goods goes up when tariffs are imposed. While the goal behind tariffs may sound good, protecting US industries and bringing jobs back home, the reality isn't so straightforward. President Trump, in his push to boost local manufacturing, has been clear about his tariff strategy. In 2018, he said, "We're going to have tariffs on China and other countries that are taking advantage of us." His goal was to level the playing field, but the consequences have been complicated. In 2025, the tariffs introduced during Trump's administration continue to affect prices across the economy. While aimed at strengthening US industries, it's consumers who end up paying the price. The costs of everyday items, from steel to smartphones, are higher. Trump also promised that trade wars are good and easy to win, but the impact has been mixed at best. The reality is that while tariffs were intended to protect US jobs, it's American consumers who are feeling the brunt of it, with many paying more for goods every day. And with tariffs likely to remain, prices will continue to rise. In 2018, President Trump imposed a 25% tariff on steel and a 10% tariff on aluminum from countries like China, Mexico, and Canada. His reasoning? "We are being taken advantage of on trade deals," Trump said. While this move was meant to protect US industries, the consequences were far-reaching and not as straightforward as they seemed. Initially, Trump's strategy was clear: penalize countries that he believed were unfairly taking advantage of US trade agreements. But these tariffs didn't just hit China or Mexico, they hit American consumers directly. The prices of goods like electronics, clothes, and food went up, and US manufacturers who relied on imported materials found themselves struggling. By 2025, Trump's tariffs are still in place, and their impact continues to ripple through the economy. Even as President Trump defends these policies, we're going to make sure that the American people come first. This is about putting America back to work, he has said, but the reality is more complicated. Global retaliation, including taxes on US exports like agricultural products, cars, and machinery, has kept prices high across the board. The result? While Trump promised to strengthen US industries, many are still grappling with the consequences. Supply chains remain disrupted, costs remain high, and consumers are still paying the price. Industries that once thrived under global trade are now navigating uncertain waters. But for American consumers, the outcome isn't so clear. In fact, these tariffs could continue to strain the economy for years to come, making goods more expensive and creating more economic instability. The trade war's legacy isn't just about politics. It's about real-world impact that's felt by everyday Americans. You may think the tariff crisis peaked in 2018 or 2019, but the truth is, 2025 could be the real tipping point. While the Biden administration took over with many of Trump's tariffs still in place, there's been little action to reverse them. In fact, tariffs on countries like China, Mexico, and Canada are poised to rise even more. Trump has repeatedly said, "We are making our country great again by making sure that we put America first. No more bad trade deals." His words are still ringing in the halls of the White House. But what does that mean for the average American consumer? Experts are warning that if tariffs continue to increase, the consequences will be catastrophic. The cost of everyday goods could rise by 10 to 20% if these tariffs escalate any further, economists predict. This isn't just about higher prices on imported goods. The ripple effect will hit local markets too, as businesses struggle to cope with rising costs for materials, production, and logistics. This could lead to a major slowdown in the US economy, triggering higher unemployment and less economic growth. In 2025, we're facing a potentially dangerous economic cycle. As Trump pushes forward with his America First agenda, the global economy risks falling into a trade war that will hurt businesses and families alike. Supply chains will continue to face disruptions, causing delays and shortages in everything from electronics to food. The escalating tariffs will spark more retaliations from other nations, raising costs even higher. Imagine paying 20% more for your favorite products just because of the trade wars. These price hikes could make basic goods unaffordable for many, especially those already struggling with inflation. Let's break down the reality. These tariffs are not just hurting big corporations, they are directly affecting you. Since 2018, the cost of living has steadily increased due to higher prices on everyday products. A 2019 study by the National Bureau of Economic Research found that tariffs on Chinese goods alone added an extra $1,000 to the average American family's expenses. Trump himself admitted the cost when he tweeted, "The tariffs are a great tool to force the Chinese to negotiate, but yes, they come with some pain." But it's not just about the cost of one product. If you're buying anything from electronics to food, you're likely feeling the sting of higher prices. For example, US consumers now pay more for electronics, clothing, and even food items, thanks to those 25% tariffs on Chinese imports. In fact, the retail sector has seen substantial price hikes. According to Forbes, US shoppers have been paying 6% more for many goods compared to pre-tariff levels, and the price increases don't stop there. With ongoing tariffs and potential future tax hikes, there's no clear end in sight. As tariffs continue to rise in 2025, this cost will only increase. For example, if you're buying a new TV, phone, or even a car, expect prices to rise sharply. The more tariffs go up, the more everything you purchase will cost. This isn't just about big corporations. The burden falls directly on the shoulders of average consumers, the ones who are already stretched thin with the rising cost of living. Before we continue, hit that like button. It lets us know you're ready to tackle the complex world of import tariffs and what it means for your wallet. Let's get back to it. One of the most profound consequences of President Trump's tariffs has been the global ripple effect, shaking trade relationships across the world. In 2025, Trump's decision to impose tariffs on US imports from countries like China, Mexico, and Canada has escalated tensions and created a more fragmented global market. These tariffs set off a series of retaliatory actions that deepened the trade conflict, with major economies striking back with tariffs on US exports. For example, the European Union hit American products like motorcycles, whiskey, and jeans with steep tariffs, while Mexico focused its retaliatory tariffs on US pork and cheese. These retaliations created a full-scale trade war, one that has lasted for several years, with no clear resolution in sight. A 2023 study from the US Federal Reserve warned that the ongoing US-China trade war could shrink US GDP by as much as 0.5% over the next decade if the tariffs persist. While Trump's tariffs were designed to pressure other countries into making trade concessions, they have also had major unintended consequences for American consumers. The higher costs of imported goods, from electronics to everyday products, have been passed down to you, the consumer. The cycle quickly became vicious. As the US continued to raise tariffs on countries like China, Mexico, and Canada, those countries retaliated, slapping tariffs on US goods. This led to escalating prices and stagnating economies, not just in the US, but globally. If these tariffs keep rising, the US economy could be pushed into a serious downturn. But it won't just be the US suffering. Other nations involved in the trade war will also feel the pain. The middle class and working poor will be especially hard hit as the prices of basic goods rise and trade continues to slow. This global economic strain will make it harder for individuals and businesses alike to thrive. What started as a domestic policy to boost US manufacturing could ultimately trigger far-reaching consequences. If things continue as they are, we might be heading toward a global recession, one that will touch nearly every part of the world. So what's in store for tariffs in 2025 and beyond? Well, one thing's clear. Trump's influence on US trade policy isn't going anywhere. With his continued prominence in the political scene, tariffs are likely to remain a central piece of the puzzle, at least for the foreseeable future. Trump has been vocal about his views, stating, "Tariffs are the way we fix this economy. We won't let other countries rip us off anymore." But here's the catch. What happens when those tariffs spiral even further? Prices are already rising, and American consumers are feeling the pinch. If Trump's tariff policies persist or even escalate, will the average American be able to absorb even higher costs? Will businesses be forced to shut down due to unaffordable materials and disrupted supply chains? As tariffs increase, they not only raise the price of imported goods, but they also trigger retaliatory measures from other countries. This sets off a chain reaction, where each new tariff feels like another punch in the global trade war. In the short term, it might seem like an economic strategy, but in the long term, it's clear that the costs are being passed directly to consumers. If these tariff wars continue, the global economy could be headed toward a major slowdown. Businesses will be forced to make tough decisions, and for many, those decisions might involve downsizing or even shutting down. The global supply chain will continue to face disruptions, driving up costs for everyone involved. And for the average consumer, life might get even harder. Prices will rise, trade will slow, and the middle class will feel the brunt of it all. So, what's the bottom line? In 2025, it's clear that Trump's tariffs aren't just a passing policy. They're setting the stage for a long-term economic battle. How this will all unfold depends on how deeply these policies continue to influence the global economy and American consumers. You might be thinking, how do I survive this? The good news is, there are steps you can take to minimize the damage and make smarter choices during these tough times. While tariffs may be a challenge, you don't have to bear the full brunt of their impact. Here's how you can navigate this crisis and come out ahead. Focus on products that are less affected by tariffs. Many American-made goods aren't subject to the same price hikes, so buying local can save you money in the long run. "We will bring jobs back to America," Trump has said. Supporting domestic industries contributes to this goal, even if local products cost a bit more. With rising prices, it's crucial to track your spending. "We are going to fix the trade deals that are hurting America," Trump emphasized. While these changes unfold, stay mindful of your finances, cut back on unnecessary items, and avoid big-ticket purchases. Keeping to a budget will help you manage costs while waiting for the situation to stabilize. Trump's tariffs push businesses to source materials locally, which can lead to better quality at competitive prices. By supporting U.S. companies, you're helping the economy and potentially finding high-value products at reasonable prices. As more companies focus on domestic sourcing, it could be a win-win for both quality and cost. Trade negotiations and tariff shifts are ongoing. By staying updated, you'll be able to anticipate price hikes and plan your purchases better. Keep an eye on news related to China, Mexico, and trade policies. This will help you stay ahead of the curve and adjust your spending habits as the landscape changes. While tariffs bring short-term volatility, focusing on long-term investments could be the key to overcoming this crisis. Look for companies poised to benefit from the shifting global trade environment. Trump's stance on tariffs could influence global production, opening new opportunities in sectors that thrive on domestic sourcing and changing trade dynamics. By staying informed, adjusting your spending habits, and focusing on long-term goals, you'll be able to weather the storm. As Trump said, "We're going to make America great again," and that starts with making sure we don't get taken advantage of anymore. With the right strategies, you can thrive even during turbulent times. The tariffs introduced under President Trump have already left their mark, and things could get worse. With rising prices, job losses, and an unstable global economy, the impact is far from over. But understanding these tariffs gives you the power to act. When prices climb even higher, how will you cope? Stay informed, stay prepared, and adapt to the changing landscape of trade. If you found this video useful, like, subscribe, and comment below. How are you feeling about the effects of tariffs? Also, check out our next video. Walmart CEO sounds alarm on grocery prices in 2025 for more on rising prices. See you there.